Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up the football gods. Wake up, guys. How are you guys doing on this Monday after Easter? Hopefully, you guys had a great holiday. I'm sure it was different than usual, but it's amazing how you can start to adjust to changes. And that's the great thing about mankind is we're able to adapt to stuff. We may not like it, but when this is all done, think about how your life will be different because you'll realize a lot of the things that you thought were important may not be quite as important when you're on the other side, and you may look at life differently. Don't look at this as something terrible that you lived through. Look at this as like the red badge of honor, if you've ever read that story there. But think about this as the moment that things changed for you and how you can figure out how to make things better for you on the other side. How to make sure that you're prepared for anything, to make you appreciate the good things in life and all. Okay, fix your attitude on this thing. Look at this as a challenge and a chance to step up and take yourself on another level. That's what I'm trying to do each and every day. Take it as it comes and make the best of what we have. So here we are. 10 days, 10 hours, 19 minutes, and 45 seconds away from the draft. A draft that's going to be different than any one we've ever seen. This is going to be the technology draft because it's going to be all done remotely with no more than a couple of people in any space. We're going to see the draft picks and stuff remotely, as I guess they'll just be walking across the living room and stuff there, to put on a fake hat. I don't know. The NFL is going to be running a telethon to help raise money for 6 charities to help out, people through this crisis. It's going to be different. It's going to be crazy, and we're going to be live streaming during the whole thing. I'm working on figuring out who we're going to be able to have in as remote guests and things like that. But we're going to work on. We got 10 days and 10 hours to get it done. But we'll definitely be here for the draft, for the whole thing for you guys, as we always are. So here we are. Of course, normally we'd be doing OTAs for the players where they're in the facilities lifting weights and training and implementing the system. But right now we know that they're doing virtual team meetings and things. Now, we don't have word if Dak Prescott is actually part of those team meetings or not. But we do know that he is in the Dallas Metroplex area, which is good because the word on the street was he wasn't going to participate, with the team OTAs possibly and stuff because of the lack of the contract. But we know for sure he's working out. We know that thanks to guys like Mike Furlow and TM Sleaze and everything else who watch his every movement, as well as Zeke Elliott's, as well as Dez Bryant and anybody else that's the Dallas Cowboys. So we know that they're in shape. We know that. So as we go through the draft, I've always stated that the draft is key. That the draft is where you have an opportunity to really change your team without spending a whole lot of money. Your drafted guys, your rookies, they're not going to cost you but chump change in comparison to what a good free agent will cost you. You've got them for 3, 4, 5 years cheap. And you have to make the most of that. You need day one starters. And you need to maximize what you do in the draft. And, there's all kinds of rumors out there that Cowboys could be interested in a quarterback from Central Florida, possibly, later in the draft. Of course, this should be, in my mind, a defensive draft. But it's going to be one of those ones because you're not in that top 10 territory where you're going to get a blue chipper. You're not in that farther end where you want to try and really trade up and try and get up there. You're kind of in the middle. And depending on how the draft keys out, all of a sudden, sometimes you think that this mock draft is going to go this way. And all of a sudden, a guy who you didn't expect goes off the board, and that just starts a chain reaction. We've seen where like Aaron Rodgers goes in the 20s. Something can happen that will shift and change everything that you've done in the offseason. And sometimes you're looking at and saying, I got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy that we all have first round trades and that we would like to have in our system. But what happens is all of a sudden the guys in this group that you deem better, they're kind of still on the boards. And so you start beginning to think, okay, we can get this guy we really want because we know this team doesn't need a defensive end. This team doesn't need they need a quarterback, and so on. And so you gamble that nobody else moves up and you can move backwards. That worked pretty good for us with Travis Frederick. We had the 17th pick. We traded with San Francisco to move back to take a center in Travis Frederick. Most experts laughed. They said, that's why the Dallas Cowboys need a GM, because they picked up a guy that you could have gotten in the second round. But here's the thing that was great about this. However you look at Terrence Williams' career, he still made catches. He was still part of the team. I'm not saying he was a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but you ended up getting Travis Frederick as well as Terrence Williams with that one pick. A lot of you guys say, hey, let's move up. Let's grab this guy. But see, when you do that, like we did with Morris Claiborne, you took your pick, moved up along with the second round pick, and it didn't pan out. So that means you not only missed on one player, you missed on two. I'm a big fan of staying pat in the first round or moving backwards. And some of the speculation is now with Travis Frederick, perennial Pro Bowler, retiring, that maybe the Dallas Cowboys look to shore up the center. You're about to pay your quarterback $35 million a year. You want to make sure you can protect your investment. You look at it from a free agency standpoint and you say, we've done a lot of good things on our defense. We've gotten Clinton Ha Dix, which makes us better as far as safety goes. We've got some bigger bodies in Dontari Poe. We got a Gerald McCoy. We know we're going to end up getting a boost from Tyrone Crawford. We may end up getting Randy Gregory back. And, of course, then we also added Aldon Smith. So maybe we sneak in a little bit on the offense. And so that's where you look at a guy like Cesar Rule. Now, see, this is my philosophy in football. Okay, you want to take the best player available. And you got to realize that some positions in the first round you don't really look at as first round guys, because you look at the position and say that's not first round need. And for example, safeties. You don't see that many safeties taken in the first round almost ever. Second round, third round, you see tons of them. But you always see left tackles. Left tackles, if you don't get up in there early, you're going to have a hard time getting one of those blue chippers. It's just one of those positions. Quarterback. Quarterbacks are always a premium. And a lot of those guys that are taken in the first round are stiffs. But you need to be up in the top if you really want to get a quarterback, unless you just happen to be like the Cowboys and get lucky. Edge rushers. It's another position that you have. A lot of these guys are taken early. So even though you're at 17, you may already have 3 quarterbacks that are taken. You may already have, 4 offensive tackles that are taken before you. You may have like 3 edge rushers. So now you're looking at the 4th, the 5th, the 6th best player when you drafted 17. Centers and safeties, they're not going to be off the board yet. So you can take the number 1 safety or the number 1 center more than likely, at least as a prospect. There's no guarantee that any of them are going to work. But you're going to take that guy who's deemed the best at their position, because it's not one of those positions that people value very high. Follow me? And center is definitely one of those. Enter Cesar Ruiz from Michigan. Dude is big. 319 pounds, 6'4". He is a bulldozer. He is an absolute positive beast. And speculation is that the Cowboys kind of like him. If you want to talk about a guy who can definitely take care of the middle for you for the next 10 or 15 years, he's only 20 years old. He's young. And since you have Joe Looney, you can kind of bring him in there and bring him up to speed, because center, regardless of them always talking about offensive line being a non skilled position, sorry, center is harder than wide receiver. You got to know everything. Everything. And on top of it, you got to snap a ball between your legs and worry about what is coming at you. And you got to make sure that you communicate to all the other guys that are there with you what to do. It only takes one position to have a wrong block to blow up a play or end a player's career. It's that critical. And what the Cowboys could do is they could end up following, and the Cowboys have a tendency to follow things that have worked in the past. It's why we ran the same freaking offense the whole time with Jason Garrett, because it tied us to our past. Last time we did good back with Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin. That was the formula that worked then. So, hey, it'll still work. That's why we kept bringing in coaches or former players that have been with that system over and over again. The Cowboys are a creature of habit, and they will do the same thing over and over again. And when they've been successful, they'll repeat it. And it would be kind of interesting and poetic that the year that Travis Frederick retires, you pull a Travis Frederick trade type deal and go from 17, move back, take Cesar Ruiz, and get another pick. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. And when you look at that, there are worse moves that you can make. And so if you're talking about being able to take the best player available, that guy is definitely one of the best offensive lines in football. Definitely the best center. We'll see what happens with the Cowboys on this, but we definitely gonna know something gonna happen. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, it's a rainy Monday. Hope you guys are keeping your ass at home, because all of us are making a difference in slowing this thing down. And if we continue to do this, we will continue to get this thing knocked out, and we'll start getting back to a new normal. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll be doing some work in my workshop and stuff, so we'll definitely be in touch with you. Hope you have a great day. See you soon.